What if a client's chronic hip pain actually started during childbirth decades ago? In today's podcast, I unpack an intriguing postpartum case where birth mechanics, pelvic alignment, and unresolved tissue tension led the client to believe that her only option for alleviating her pain was a total hip replacement. Once the pelvis was properly assessed and treated, the hip pain resolved without surgery. If you treat postpartum clients or unexplained hip pain, this episode may completely change what you look for in the pelvis. Hello, friends. This is Lynn Schulte, and you are listening to the Birth Healing Summit podcast. We are here for meaningful conversations that will transform the way you work with pregnant and postpartum clients. Whether it is a new perspective, tool, or technique, you'll be able to implement it into your practice today. I invite you to sit back, listen with an open mind, and grab the golden nugget today's guest has to offer. Now let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode. Today I want to talk to you about a postpartum case, and this is actually from a colleague of mine. Let's dive into this case study. This is a really good friend of mine who her babies are probably 30 and 28, 29, somewhere, and they might even be 32, 33. But one of her births, she was laboring in the hospital and she had gotten an epidural. And she's had 4 babies, by the way. So I think this is either the second or third baby when this happened during her labor. So she's in bed and she has an epidural and she's just, waiting for labor to progress. And her right leg starts sliding off the bed. And her husband was asleep on the couch and she was screaming like, help, help, I need help, because she had no muscle strength because of the epidural to lift her up. So she is grabbing hold of the handrail, the guardrail of the bed, of the hospital bed, to hold on to stop herself from sliding onto the floor. Okay. And her right leg is dangling off and leading the way. Well, the nurse runs in and they help get her back onto the bed. She did not hit the floor, but her leg was traction down and out to the side as this was happening. Okay, so I hope everybody can kind of envision that. And now I want you to think about, what did that right leg and that right side pelvis experience with sliding off the bed and almost going down onto the floor, okay? In a very heavy state, the muscles aren't able to contract. So all the weight of the leg is distracting the femur from the acetabulum. But what pressure is that putting on the ilium and the ischial tuberosity as that's happening with an epidural? Remind you, she has no muscle strength. Okay. So now she gives birth, and then she, gives birth 2 more times or one more time, I'm not sure. And then now this is 30 plus years later. And I was just with her for the weekend, and she is complaining of hip pain, right? Hip pain that is so bad that she's had injections. She's seen so many practitioners. She actually is really close to getting she's thinking she needs a total hip replacement. She thinks she has a labral tear and all this is going on. Well, I evaluated her, and she was stuck in sacral flexion. Her right ischium was very splayed. I think both were splayed from all the births, but right was more so. And the other thing, though, which was so important for this, is actually when I started this session, I actually got drawn to her chest. And her chest was carrying a heaviness. And when I asked her to get curious with what that heaviness really was, she actually recognized that she was holding a lot of anger towards her husband at the time. They're now since divorced, thank goodness. But he actually said, as she's like screaming, yelling, like, help, Rich, help, help. He was like, call the nurse. He wanted to just sleep. He's a doctor. He was on call. He was tired. And he blew her off. And she was holding this anger that she had towards him because he didn't get up and help her right away. And the nurse literally, she tells this story that the nurse came in and whacked him on the head, like, get up and help your wife. And he did, and they, saved her from getting on the floor. But that was really being held in her chest. So we acknowledged that anger, helped that to release. And then we were able to really focus in on the pelvis. And I did some trauma release statements. We replayed the birth and just helped to clear out the tension being held in her pelvis and her pelvic bones. And then I was able to do the mobilizations that I teach in my holistic courses in the Treating the Postpartum Pelvis course and get things back in better alignment, get her out of sacral flexion. But the other thing that was super, super important for her case was she has a lot of tensor fascia lata tension in her right side. Anybody with TFL pain, please check to see if they are in an outflare. A lot of pregnancies, a lot of births can create this outflare of the ilium, meaning that the ASIS is those bumps on the front of the pelvis. One side can be more lateral than the other side, or they both can be really lateral too. And helping to bring that back into midline helps take the tension off that TFL, also helps to orient that acetabulum in a slightly different direction to take the tension off of the femur bone as it's interacting with that acetabulum. And I did that in the sideline technique that I teach in the course. And she just really needed the medial compression of both ASIS and ischium there. And she got off the bed after I got done working with her. I didn't do any internal work, just worked on the bones. And she got up and started walking, and she was like, oh my gosh, this just feels so much better. It doesn't hurt. And we were actually sharing a hotel room at a conference. And the next morning she was like, Lynn, my hip doesn't hurt. Oh my gosh, I was planning on getting a total hip replacement and I don't need that now. And that mobilization, that medial, like that getting out of outflare was so critical for her, along with getting the impact from birth out of her pelvis, closing up that pelvic outlet, getting in the ilium out of outflare, really helped reestablish a different dynamic in her hip and the muscles of her pelvis. And she has no more pain. She doesn't need a total hip replacement, everyone. Isn't that crazy? And I worked with another client that I just saw. She's got a 42-year-old, 33, 30-year-old. She's got three kids, left hip pain, major left hip pain. And she is really lacking internal rotation of the hip. And I like, oh, this has happened so many times in my clinic. Decreased internal rotation is I usually find an ischial splay, that the ischium is in a abducted position, and that changes the acetabulum and the ability of the femur to internally rotate. And when we can get the ischiums back into midline, the internal rotation just goes, it has normal motion, and it should be even side to side. So this gal, though, 42 years of this pelvic position, because it usually starts with the first one, and then each birth subsequently will add to it and keep it more stuck in that position. And then it just makes it hard for the hip to be able to rotate in the socket like it's supposed to. When we correct that, if it's only been a couple of years and we don't have all this tissue degradation, tissue inflammation, this gal says, oh, the MRIs say my labrum's fraying, and, the hip has osteoarthritis in it. Of course, 42 years later, that's still going to remain. But if she could have gotten this done early, I guarantee we could have avoided this hip being in the position it is today. So she was definitely had less tension after the session and felt way different, getting her bones in a better position, but the hips still lacked that internal rotation. And it's because of all the damage that's been going on for 42 plus or for 40 plus years with her. And so I just want us to keep in mind the impact that these bones being stuck in that open birthing pattern can have on the hip joint itself and how that can influence things down the road for both my friend and this other client. That when we get the bones, the ischiums back in their normal alignment, we get the outflare taken care of. Then the ischium, the acetabulum's in a different orientation, and the femurs are able to rotate and move in it more successfully, more normally. So please keep that in mind and look for this in your clients and learn how to address the pelvic bones after birth. If you haven't already, please, please, please. It will really help you get much better results with your clients and help moms to avoid these issues down the road. Okay. Nobody's looking for this. Nobody's doing this unless they've taken a course with me because nobody else is teaching this. And I really want to help spread the word. So if you can do me a favor and share this information with any of your colleagues, even your ortho colleagues, they need to understand this relationship and know that this isn't just all pelvic floor, it's your pelvis. And orthopedic people can mobilize the pelvis too. Doing the intravaginal work can be super helpful too, but sharing this with orthopedic people is can be helpful as well. All right. So please take a look at those hips, take a look at those ischiums, ilia outflare, and let's correct all that and let's get those hips happier. All right. Thanks everybody for listening in. We will see you on the next episode. Share this with a colleague. Hit subscribe if you haven't, so you'll be notified when the next episode is available. And I will see you on the next episode. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Here's to smoother births and faster recoveries and less hip pain for moms down the road. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Today's podcast was brought to you by the Institute for Birth Healing. To discover more, visit instituteforbirthhealing.com. To claim $50 off of any online course, use coupon code PODCAST50 at checkout. Till next time, I'm Lynn Schulte, founder of the Institute for Birth Healing.